Hey guys, it's PandoraWill here, and today I'm making a tutorial on how to animate objects in Blender. Also, I'll kind of go through the steps on how to render in Blender. I've received a few comments and requests for these particular functions in Blender, so I thought I'd try to make a tutorial as soon as I could for you guys out there that want to learn how to do this kind of stuff. So you can see I have my default scene. I'm just going to delete my cube, and then I'm going to add a monkey. And the reason why I'm using the monkey is because when I start animating, it'll be a lot easier to see how it changes through its animation. With a cube, it's got four identical sides, so it's kind of hard to see exactly what's going on. On this left hand side you can see I hit smooth shading to make it a little smoother. It bugs me when it's all flat. Alright, so this is gonna be our first frame. This is where we're gonna have our monkey start. So if I hit I on my keyboard, this insert keyframe menu pops up. And I always insert the location, rotation, scale keyframe just because it covers all three of those aspects. Normally I don't mess around with scale when I'm animating. I will, however, move my object around and change its location, and also I use rotate a lot, so just inserting this keyframe covers all three of those bases. So now this is going to be where our monkey starts in our video sequence. So now if I go to, let's say, frame 20, I'll just click there, and then I'll move my monkey. I'll slide it up, I'll hit R and then X to rotate it along the X-axis, then R and Z to rotate it along the Z-axis, so that it's now in a different position. So I'm going to insert another keyframe by hitting I and then location, rotation, scale. So that's the new spot that our object will be in. So if I go back to the beginning of our sequence, you can see that it resets to the original spot that we inserted the first keyframe. And I hit play, you'll see our object kind of rotate and move. Whoops. There we go. I keep hitting the wrong button, but it's not important. So now, let's say we want to insert another keyframe. We'll just do it at 80. We'll move our monkey over here. We'll rotate it along the Y-axis and then the Z-axis. And why not the X? Let's see, there. So now it's like upside down over there. Now I'm also going to scale it down by hitting S, and then actually let's make it really big. And now I'll hit I again and then insert the location, rotation, scale keyframe. So I'll hit back to go to the beginning of the video and then hit play, and you can see how our object becomes animated and changes. Let's see. I'll hit F12 on my keyboard to render, just to see what it looks like at this frame. Hit F11 to get out of that. When you render by hitting F12, it'll always render from the view of your active camera. So if you press 0 on your numpad, it'll go to your camera. And this screen is what'll be rendered. So if I slide the video along a little, right there, hit F12 again, you can see it renders the monkey when it's at that stage. So a lot of times in your sequences you'll be animating an object that's moving, but you'll also have to animate the camera, because as you can see, like that, most of our monkey is out of our frame. So that's pretty simple to do. Just like you animated the monkey, you animate the camera. So if you're still in this view, if the 0 view on your numpad, if you just right click on the the frame of where the camera is, you can easily animate it. So by pressing I, just insert that keyframe. I'll move along my animation, and now I'm going to insert a new keyframe, but first I'm going to move the camera where I want it. So with the camera highlighted, if you press G on your keyboard, it'll grab your camera and you can move it. Also, from this view, you can hit R to rotate it. So RZ will rotate it along the Z axis, and then G to move it over, and that should be fine. So now I'm going to insert another keyframe and then move the animation along. I'm moving frame by frame just by pressing the arrow key, the right arrow key on my keyboard. Now I want to zoom out, so I'm going to press G, and then I'm going to press the middle mouse button in. All you have to do is press each of those, and then you should be able to slide your mouse back. And then when you have it to the place where you want it, you just left click on your mouse and you're good to go. So now I'm going to insert my last keyframe, and voila. So now if I go back to the beginning of the video and hit play, it'll follow our animation. Just for effects, I'm going to click on the monkey and add another keyframe just so it kind of faces the camera. Let's see. Rotate along the Y. I'm just going to move it down a little. Then I to insert a keyframe. There. Kind of snaps really fast at the end. So now if I hit F12 to render, that's what we get. So that's the basics of animating. Now I'll go a little bit more into rendering. So when you have your scene how you want it, you can preview whatever, you'll want to render it. And because we're making kind of a video sequence, we'll want to render it as an animation. So over here on the right hand side, it's your toolbar. At the camera one right here is the render tab. So you can click that and it'll bring up all your render options. Now first I always change the resolution to 100%, and then because I like to record in 720p, I always use the basic dimensions. For the X it's 1280, and then for the Y it's 720, and then I want 100% of that, so that's why I slide it up. So now it's going to be recording in 720p, which gives a decent quality, especially for YouTube videos. Then I also changed the frame rate to 30 frames per second. It just really depends on the length of my video and how many frames I want it to be. But 30 is a pretty solid number that I use a lot. And then if you scroll down a little further, you get to this output settings. I usually change my output from the temporary file to my desktop. And that's just because I like to know where my project is when I'm working on it. And then another important thing is to change the file type. So default it's a PNG picture file format and file format, but you want to change it to an AVI RAW or MPEG, whatever type of file format you like to use. AVI RAW is what I use. It's a pretty average, normal format that a lot of programs can read. And that's about it for your settings. And then you want to animate it, you just go back up to the top and click render animation. It's important to note that when you're rendering, these frame numbers down here are important. As you can see, our animation starts at 0 and it's basically done by frame 100. So I want to change my end frame to be around there, otherwise I will be rendering all this useless all these useless frames. So you want to adjust your end frame amount to the video that you're using. Alright, and then just click animation and it'll start rendering as an animation. That's how easy it is to animate and render in Blender. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment or leave messages in my inbox, whatever you're comfortable with. Yeah, basically anything with render I can try to help you with. If you're having trouble finding out what the hotkeys are, or other parts of Blender that you don't quite understand, just feel free to get in contact with me. Well, thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more videos. If you liked the video, please like it, and thank you.